Evening, mate. How you doing? Thank you very much for your message. Let's have a quick look, shall we? Let's have a look. What would be great to get you in the James Arthur piece? Could you answer the following questions on a landscape video, if pos? Uh, if you don't, then voice that would be sound. So, hopefully, I don't know whether you need this in a video clear cut, but hopefully you'll be able to snip these out, and I'll send you the video. And if it's too big or whatever, then I can do it clear and cut it for you if you want. So, how old am I? So I am 35. Where do I live? I live in Winchester, so that's down south, right down the bottom. It's not as far as the Isle of Wight, but it's right down the south. What do I do? Okay, so I work in IT now. Used to work in the police for a number of years. I know, yeah, don't boo and hiss, but yeah, that's what I did. So I work in IT at the moment. Um, I won't bore you with the technical details, but yeah, I enjoy my job. It's really good, and I also enjoy. And as you can see by this recording, I have an alias of Prince Weasley, and I do a number of live reactions to music, in particular James Arthur. There's loads of videos out there of it. If you're interested, if you don't already know, that is, of course. Um, so how long have you been a James Arthur fan for? So I've been a James Arthur fan since the first day he entered the X Factor stage. To come on, I've watched X Factor for many many years, but to come onto the stage at the X Factor, knowing that you've got all your family there, which is a huge pressure anyway, to then do it in front of all those fans, in front of Simon Cowell and others, and then to rework an already constructed piece into Lisa's song is genius. It's a proper risky move, but it's genius. To then perform it in the way that he did is unquestionably one of the best first auditions I've ever seen in the X Factor. And immediately at that point, I became a huge fan of his musical capability and who he was as an artist, because there was something unique at that very moment I saw in him. Um, what do I like about him and his music? I mean, crikey, I don't know how long you want this video to be, but I could probably talk to you for hours. Because as someone who does lots of live reactions for different artists, I come across variations of skills, quality, music, songs, etc., etc. But James Arthur is is in his own lane, in my personal opinion. I think what James Arthur offers is something very different to other artists. When he writes his songs, for example, you'll know as a presenter, as a reporter, you'll come across songs quite often, and you will see those songs, and yeah, they may be catchy and they might be the latest hit, but if you actually sit back and reflect on just the lyrics and look what it's actually trying to say, most of them, more often than not, don't really mean much, and it's a lot of gibberish and there's no consistency to it. But with James, for me personally, I find he takes you on a journey. He takes you on a journey that gives you a beginning, middle, and end. So first and foremost, I like the storytelling behind his songwriting. Two, I always find that he leaves nothing to the imagination when it comes to singing his songs. He never really plays safe, and he puts so much emotion into his songs. You look at you, you look at Recovery. Oh my goodness! Look at Deja Vu. Look at SOS. Those songs, just to name just a smidge, when played live, are ridiculously insane. James gets into a song so much so that he allows the fans to really show what he means about the song. He doesn't get on a stage. That's another thing. He doesn't get on a stage, thinks he's the big I am, and then doesn't do much, just stands there and sings. He puts on a performance for you. He engages in his live set, and it's so worth the money to go and see him do it. He talks to the fans. He doesn't come on, go off, and doesn't engage. He hangs about afterwards to really engage. So that's another thing. He gives so much time and effort into his fans. He's so appreciative of what they do, and I know some people might say, "Oh, of course, yeah, you've got to be as an artist," but there's not often a lot of artists that actually do spend the time with the fans. they don't reach out to the fans as much. Yes, you can look at social media, you can look at videos, but let's be real, that's not real fan engagement. That's just reaching out to entice people in. James has live Instagrams with his fans. He sends them emails. He engages with them on Twitch, for example, or on Twitter or Facebook, way more than I've seen any other artist do that. So that's another element. But I think if we're going to get really down to it right now, other than the obvious I've just stated, his voice is unique in comparison to a lot of artists. There's a lot of similarities, a lot of sameness, but James's vocals and his capabilities going from the lower register notes all the way to the higher octaves, the way he controls his vocals from the chest voice, sometimes into the throat, then into the head voice. As a male artist, a prime example is when he sang the X Factor final with Dalton Harris, and he was the guest with Dalton. You look that up on YouTube if you haven't already seen it, and you look at that note he holds at the end. Exquisite. James's vocals, his musical talent, and his singing capability merged into one makes an epic artist. I mean, I could go on, but I'll keep it at that just in case you're there going, this guy's talking too much. How would you describe J Army to somebody who isn't in the know? Do you know what? From a positive perspective, I would probably say we're probably one of the... We are a passionate group of fans of James Arthur's, where we will do everything we can to support James. We will travel the country. We will travel even to European countries to go and see him live. We will buy his music. We will tweet. We will retweet. We will support him. We'll do as much as we possibly can to get him to where he deserves to be. And when you join the J Army group, it is just a group of... It's not just, but it's a massive group of enthusiasts who just really feel the same about James and his music and his capability. I think if you were to challenge the J Army, you will certainly find that you are on a losing end, because we've come across as a group or a collective over the years a lot of challenges from different people that have tried to bring James down, or they've tried to demoralise him or diminish the work and the tireless effort that he puts into his music. And we're not a group that backs down. We're a group that really believes in James and supports him moving forward. So I think I think army is the right word, because we are an amazing family that unites with the same interest in James and his music, but we're also willing to go the length and do our duty to support him moving forward, what his journey is. So hopefully that makes sense. So it's a great place to be, and if you ever want to join, then come along and join. We'll welcome you with open arms, not a problem. So, what is the issue about airplay at the moment? Is it unfair? Do you know, I don't know what historically has gone on, and if anything historically has gone on. There's lots of rumours going around, of course, but I'm not one for gossip, slander or rumours. What I do know is that I personally think that James doesn't get enough airtime. I think one of my frustrations, and it sounds like typical fans of a artist complaining their favourite person's not being played, but if you actually look at playtime on radios, for example, and do some stats and look at how many times an artist is played, you'll have your regulars. And I don't mind saying the likes of Adele, Ed Sheeran, Lewis Capaldi, and all of them are exceptional artists. I have no qualms with those. I think they are really unique and sensational as artists as well. All of them offer fantastic opportunity in the music industry. You won't hear me question that. But what I don't quite grasp is these sorts of artists will have their music played all the time, consistently throughout whenever it's released, leading up to whatever event it might be. And I don't know whether it's the personal preference of the presenter, of the host, whatever it might be. I mean, if you gave me a slot on the radio, I've always been told I have a voice for radio, but if you gave me a slot on the radio, yeah, I probably would play more James Arthur, because as a radio host, I would feel it's my responsibility to bring the very best music to the listeners, and I firmly believe that. So I would expect it to be the best, and I would feel I'd be failing as in my duty as a host if I wasn't producing James on the radio, because I don't think there's anyone quite like him, and I think there's a lot of talent, and I think his music is very powerful, and I think it does deserve credit. I don't see it being any worse off than a lot of the stuff I hear on the radio. Um, I'm sure you probably got the Crazy Frog played on the radio more than you have James Arthur, or you've got Baby Shark played on the radio more than you hear James Arthur. And I listen to it quite a lot naturally because I do this as my channel. Um, so yeah, so I do think there's an issue, really. I really do. It's a real shame because I don't know what it is that's going on or why it's going on, but I do think that it needs to be rectified. Like I said, give me a slot. I'll take away all the complaints from any radio show because I'll be playing more James Arthur, if it helps. So hopefully that explains it. I do think it's unfair. I do think there's an issue about his airplay time because I don't hear him anywhere near as often as much as many artists who aren't as good or haven't achieved as much. I think there we go. That's the answer. Is that when you look at what James has achieved in his journey as an artist, his number ones, his platinums, his views, all this sort of stuff, it's in the top 10 of UK artists. So if it's at such a high accolade, why isn't his music then being played? Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. It does to me. Um, what's your message to UK radio stations? I think I've pretty much covered that. What I said a minute ago. I'm sure all the radio stations that UK or abroad or whatever believe in the same passion and bring in the very best to their clients, their customers who listen and tune in and spend time to listen to their radio. And I think they would only want what's best for the fans. They would want to believe, I'm sure all of them have got as much passion for music as I do. And to not play one of the best artists in the UK, homegrown talent, we should be proud to be playing James Arthur. We should be proud that he is a UK artist. He's full blown English. He is from the UK. He's home talent. It's like with any form of sports, you want to promote, you want to build up those artists and be really proud when you compare them to other countries, because other countries do. So why aren't we when it comes to the likes of James Arthur, who is equally up there with accolades? And here's a little devil's advocate question for you to the radio stations. If you gave James Arthur as much playtime as you do the other artists, I guarantee you he will be competing for some of the top awards because he's got that playtime, because he's able to be advertised, because his music is then being listened more across the UK. I really genuinely believe that, and you can think it's just because I'm a fan, but if you look at my channel, I am really open and honest when it comes to music, whether it's for or against people I like or dislike. So I genuinely mean that. Give him that playtime as much as all your other artists, and I guarantee he will have a bigger fan base. He will be getting more number ones. His albums will be up there, because what isn't fair right now is that you can say, well, James hasn't got number ones. Yeah, but none of those other artists like Adele or Ed Sheeran or Lewis Capaldi would get number ones if they weren't as played as much. I genuinely believe that. Yes, they have a fan base, but so does James. But you play way more artists more often. So you play the same artist and that person's latest song more often across your station, more people are going to listen to it, more people are going to download it, and more people are then going to push up those numbers for the stats for number one. It's basic algorithm, isn't it? You know that. I'm not going to teach this, okay, because you're the professionals. So give him, be proud that he's a UK artist, give him the praise that he deserves, push him up there. Of course, I'm only speaking on behalf of what I personally believe. I don't know what's gone on previously, if anything has gone on, but that's my message. Hopefully that helps, mate. Sorry if it's too long or longer than expected, but hopefully you can see I'm really passionate, really enthusiastic, and really want the best for James. But anyway, if you need anything more, then just let me know. I'll speak to you. Take care, man.